Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And this is Throwback Thursday. And on Throwback Thursday, we usually give you some movie news and then give you a review of a throwback movie that's kind of somewhat related to that news. But this is Thanksgiving time. Thanksgiving being next week, we're gonna go ahead and just review a throwback movie that I think you should see. We've already mentioned it once on our list of movies you should see, but I feel that this movie deserves its own video. And of course, we're talking about planes, trains, and automobiles. So stick around. Where else are you going to get the type of comedy gold that you can only find in a movie that has Steve Martin and John Candy, two of the most iconic stars you could ever ask for? And this movie has both of them, and it's a good thing. This movie has become an absolute classic, and if you haven't seen it, you owe it to yourself to watch it. It focuses on Steve Martin's character, who is trying to get home for the holidays. Namely, he's trying to get home for Thanksgiving to spend Thanksgiving with his family. Neil Page is his character's name, and he's kind of this business guy, really serious all the time, probably doesn't have a whole lot of fun. And you can kind of see it. You kind of get the vibes. But all that is about to change. Because he meets Del Griffith, played by John Candy. And from the very moment he meets him, Del Griffith changes his life in extraordinary ways. Number one, he messes up his first chance of getting back in an easy manner to his Thanksgiving dinner. And from there, it's just comedy hijinks after comedy hijinks. Alright, so without giving you a lot of spoilers, it's hijinks after hijinks that result in bigger and worse problems as the movie goes on. And that's what makes it incredibly fun to watch. And you can't watch this movie without laughing a few times. And that makes it brilliant. I don't think that I ever stopped laughing at this movie. Every time I watch it, I laugh the exact same parts I laughed at the year before. And the reason why, it's like putting on this old glove. Sometimes what is funny is still funny no matter what. And that's how you know you have a classic. Some classics or quasi-classics, you'll see people start to laugh at jokes. But then as the movie goes on and time goes on, those jokes don't hold up as well. This movie, while it may not be the most modern movie and presents a few technology problems that are bound to get worse as time goes on, the core element of the movie is the strangers that meet, that kind of inject themselves in each other's lives and watch everything go downhill. And that, friends, is exactly why this movie is a classic. That is exactly why this movie works. So let's talk about a few things you may not have known about this movie that won't spoil anything for you. In fact, I'm hoping it will enhance it. So, number one, the exterior of the airplane used in the movie is in fact the same exterior used in the 1980s airplane comedy movie. 1980s Airplane had the same airplane exterior as this movie, which isn't really all that shocking when you consider that they were both released by Paramount Pictures. Now, Eddie McClure, who plays in a few John Hughes movies, you might also recognize her as the principal's secretary in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, has a part as a St. Louis airport worker who is talking to Steve Martin's character at one point, and she's on the phone. Now, this scene is partially improvised, as John Hughes told her to kind of do an improvisation of a fake conversation you might have if you were having plans with someone on Thanksgiving. She's having this conversation while a line is really starting to form. And the whole scene becomes really funny because you get the feeling that you have seen people do this in your life. You've seen employees of places you've gone do this to you. And that part makes it even funnier. And Eddie McClure does this brilliant type of improvisation with this role. So much so that I find it hard to believe that Steve Martin even keeps a straight face. In fact, there's once or twice when you're kind of looking at Steve Martin where if you look really close, it looks like he's almost ready to crack a smile. But he's playing this character that's kind of a little bit of a grump, and all he wants to do is make it home, and she's making his life worse, so it makes it even funnier. Near the beginning of the movie, Steve Martin's character is racing someone for a taxi. The person he's racing is Kevin Bacon, but not just in a little surprise cameo. No, this is in fact Kevin Bacon's character from the movie She's Having a Baby. And his character is racing him to get to this cab to get home to his wife or his girl because she's getting ready to have a baby. And it's kind of this cool little meta scene that they have going on with the two movies kind of interspliced. Something that you would later see in a few other movies over periods of times, but not so much in John Hughes movies. She's Having a Baby was actually also a John Hughes movie. So to have that scene appear in both movies and interconnect them a little bit is actually a very funny thing, which I guess technically also makes She's Having a Baby a Thanksgiving movie. This movie was originally meant to have Tom Hanks and John Travolta, with John Travolta in John Candy's role and Tom Hanks playing the Steve Martin role. Now, when you think about that, I'm kind of glad that that didn't happen. And I'm sure everyone else is too. Both of those guys are brilliant actors, and the movie probably would have been amazing. But the amount of comedy gold that you get in this movie, and the amount of improvisation that you are allotted by having these two play off of each other, and the fact that John Hughes also likes to incorporate a lot of improvisation into his movies anyway, often telling the actors to improvise lines to begin with. One character in the movie spits in his hand before he goes to give it to somebody to shake, and that was actually improvised. John Hughes told him to do that so that he would get a real disgusted look from the person, and it worked. Jerry Ryan, who would later go on to play in Star Trek Voyager as Seven of Nine, one of the more serious characters in the franchise, was cast as an extra in the bus scene. However, due to the fact that she couldn't stop laughing at all the jokes that Steve Martin and John Candy were spewing out, she had to be let go. I'm sure that John Hughes actually regrets that decision a little bit, but it just goes to show you that not everyone can work with these two people. And Jerry Ryan, in her own right, has become a wonderful actress. And if you're a Star Trek fan, you definitely know of her. And you know why a lot of people like her, but then you also know that the character herself is really cool. I don't know if you like Seven of Nine and for what reasons you do like her. It varies upon who you're talking to. And then I know some people who really don't like the character. But one thing you cannot really argue is that she is a very talented actress. And she does her job well. I guess even sometimes an actress who can hold her own against a lot of really talented actors really sometimes just can't work with certain people. And it becomes an issue. I would have liked to have seen her in this role. Even if she was giggling in the background, I still think it would have been funny. Now, the house that is used for Steve Martin's character's house in this movie is also one town over from the house used in Home Alone. So there's also a bit of crossover, if you will, in there. You can argue that these two movies are from the same universe. The same related John Hughes universe, where Steve Martin's trying to make it home for Thanksgiving. And Kevin was almost kidnapped by people trying to rob his house when they thought it was empty. So that brings us to the end of this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you have never seen this movie, watch this movie and let me know what you think. So don't forget, comment, like, and share. All of them are free, and all of them help the channel. And then don't forget that Miko says we need more subscribers, and you don't want to disappoint Miko. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video we do. And then yes, friends, at the end of the day, you know it, I know it, Miko knows it. Fandom is family.